All right, welcome to the Bite Me Podcast, episode 74. We are almost 3/4 of a century old.
Good.
Look at me doing words and math stuff real fast.
That's kind of crazy. We're only 26 weeks. We are half a year away from episode 100.
Wow. Ooh. Okay.
Crazy.
I don't know what that means. That means,
26 weeks away from episode 100.
That means we've spent 150 hours minimum.
Yeah. Crazy,
what a bunch of losers.
So what? We have to hit 10,000 hours, right, before we become really good at this?
Yeah.
Wait,
Mastercasters.
Is that right? No. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's probably about 150 hours. We probably spend about 2 hours a week doing it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Between pre-show and post-show. And, it's crazy.
Then we can be Mastercasters.
Ooh.
Oh.
Nice.
Is that what we become, a Mastercaster?
Well, 10,000 hours is what it takes to master something.
I mean, that's not really true, but yeah.
But that's what they say.
My name is Adam West.
Oh, I'm Cliff Johnson.
I'm the Dylan.
Hello, and welcome.
Hello!
To this very special edition of the Bite Me... It's not special, it's just episode 74.
Every edition is special.
Exactly.
This is the first edition of the 74th episode.
What?
So,
you heard it here first.
This week in news, we've got a bit to talk about. There's a new little game coming out called God of War. Perhaps you've heard of it.
Maybe.
Right. Another game that you probably heard of, King Kong. Yeah, the guy.
No, that is not the game. Donkey Kong is the game.
Did I say King Kong?
You did.
That's how much NyQuil
monkey.
I'm on. Yeah,
King of Kong.
Dayquil Kong. Okay.
Dayquil. I played that game.
Donkey Kong.
Z-Quil.
Donkey Kong's a game you've heard of. Anyway, so the guy who had the high score, yeah, he doesn't anymore, and we'll tell
Billy
you why.
Mitchell.
Yeah, that poor guy.
No.
Are your Joycons acting strange, acting like they have a mind of their own? Perhaps we have some info for you. We'll talk about that if you think you might have some weird Joycons.
I want to make a fake prescription medicine commercial.
Do you have Nintendo Switch-itis?
I love it.
Yeah. Battlefront 2 gets a fun little mode. We'll talk about that. Sea of Thieves is getting new content. I call it getting a game.
Adam skips right over Hellblade.
I'm not...
You're a liar. You missed it. Go ahead.
We're creating conflict, artificial conflict, Adam. It's ratings.
Does it, though?
Ratings,
Does it?
does.
Ratings gold.
There are a
Controversy.
bunch of... Do you want to run this show?
No.
Controversy creates cash, Adam.
Well,
Okay,
where
go
the
ahead.
hell is the cash? Because there's a lot of controversy here.
Please continue.
I'm rolling in bling bling, baby.
There are a bunch of Sega games coming to the Switch, and there's a new Castlevania game coming out. We'll tell you where, because I'm sure you can't wait to play it.
Tonight at 11.
Right. And finally, because I actually did miss it. So Hellblade is coming to the Xbox, but you should play this if you haven't, because it just won a lot of awards.
A lot of them.
5 BAFTAs to be exact.
I love the name.
Yeah,
BAFTA.
what is a BAFTA?
I
British?
see, I think
British
it sounds like
Arts fine something. I don't know. It's like the awards of England.
Okay, if I was to create a definition for what, if you heard the word BAFTA, what would you define BAFTA
Aren't those
as?
those giant furry things that they ride in Star Wars?
That's
That is a
Bantha.
Oh.
because to me, BAFTA. Did you have something?
A BAFTA just sounds like a noise you'd expect to hear in a bathroom.
I was gonna say an after fart.
Anyway.
Is it a before or an after fart?
It's a BAFTA.
You people are terrible.
Oh, are
It's
we terrible,
BAFTA.
really?
Nah.
Wow, we actually lost a viewer on our Twitch stream right now. I wonder why.
Because we threw out the word after fart.
All right, and we've got questions from Vinny, Jjames, Captain Insano, JoeColeslaw, and that's that. Yeah, we have those
That's
two.
it. We got a little quiz today. Apparently, Vinny's trying to test our metal to see if we actually are phonies or not.
Metal, M-E-T-T-L-E.
Yes.
We actually are phonies too.
Right.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
super phonies. Except I'm gonna ace this with my eyes closed.
Dang.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But first, we start with what we're playing. Cliff, you and I are playing the same thing.
Because it's great.
And it's fun.
I'm like 67 hours into Far Cry.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
I'm only 20.
Yeah. So you've got to be getting close to finish. Oh, you said you're fighting the first end boss now.
I'm fighting John.
Yeah.
Which I've got to say, he's probably one of my favorite video game bad guys.
Really?
Just, I don't know what it is about the way that they wrote his character or whoever does his voice or whatever, but he is legit creepy.
Yeah.
Like
They
he's
always do a pretty good job of that, I think, with Far Cry and their bad
I
guys.
don't know,
They're
I-
always
yeah.
kind of like
I found most of
they're interesting at least.
Yeah, they're in. I'll give them that.
They're like eccentric, sure, like, but at least they're interesting. It's not like generic bad guy.
right.
I think
With a
Faith
scowl.
in this game is actually, and you haven't seen her very
Not
much, but
yet.
I think Faith is actually the better of the two.
Okay.
But I don't know. Overall, I find
The writing and
writing's
story and
pretty
everything in this game
terrible
is
and-
not.
yeah. It's not. It's not bad.
It's not good.
It's just not good.
But
yeah.
for whatever reason, I think it's the actor and maybe the motion capture
Yeah.
that they did with this guy. Whatever it is about his character, he really strikes me as
Yeah.
just a freaking nutcase.
Yeah. So I don't know.
And,
It's
yeah.
still a great game. The third area is hard too. Like not hard to beat, but just like environmentally hard. There's like huge mountains you have to get up, and it's fun.
And you can't climb anything.
And you can't really. It's exact. It is not Zelda. You have to take a helicopter.
You
So,
do?
Yeah.
Wow.
A lot of it is. I mean, no, but
Right.
I've got a helicopter, so why wouldn't I take a helicopter? Yeah. So I've beaten the first area and the second area. Effectively 100% both of them. I have 2 missions left in the second area, but one I need to find a bunch of grizzly bears, and the other one requires me to do magical wingsuit maneuvers that I can't do.
So when you say 100%, do you mean you did all the things you can do
Yeah.
there, or you got all the resistance points?
all the things you can do there.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've cleared all the caches. I've cleared gotten all the bad guys out of my
Wow.
bases. I did all the side quests. So yeah, it's about
That's so fancy.
Cash
It's about
money.
like 50-ish missions per area.
Okay.
About.
That's about.
Yeah.
And I know I was telling you earlier about some of the weird little buggy things.
Oh, yeah.
Have you run into anything weird?
A couple, nothing outlandish. I've had a couple things like the airplanes are real buggy. Like they chase you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So especially if you're in the mountains, the airplanes just can't figure out how mountains are, and so they'll just like drive along them. And I've had some like a table that was supposed to be holding ammo, and the table just wasn't there, so it was all this ammo
Right.
just like floating in but nothing as weird as your stuff.
Yeah, because so there's the one with the dude at the airfield.
Yeah, I don't
So,
remember what his name is.
For
but-
whatever reason, like that guy, his face is on the map, and I can hover over it saying, "Hey, they're at my doorstep. I need your help. Come on, do."
Yeah.
And I'll go there, and there's nobody
Yeah.
there, and it's like the mission itself is like opened up for me to go there and do something. But evidently, I can't really do anything there until I take out this outpost.
Yeah, so the airfield's right next to his house, essentially. So you have to take out his house first. The house mission's actually, I don't want to say hard, but there's a lot of bad guys there. So.
Yeah, I blew through that when I was on my way to like.
Oh, so you've cleared that out?
I've cleared it. Did I clear it? I don't know. I think I think I started working on that while I was going to start the mission to end that zone with John
sure.
Seed. So I think there's some
weirdness.
There's a bunch of weirdness.
Well, that's actually I don't think this is real spoilery, but in the first mission, you have the option essentially of fighting the end guy. Like
Right.
once you get to the third level of the thing, the bell starts ringing at the church, and you can choose to go fight him at any time.
Right.
In Faith's area, as soon as you get that third resistant point, it just makes you fight her.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is
wow.
kind of strange. Like my brother was playing, he's like, I still have quests that I need to turn in that cuts the fighting her broke. And it doesn't actually break them. You can still complete them. But he's like, things happen in that game story wise when that mission spawns that can break missions. And like I said, it doesn't actually break them, but he was real freaked out for a while. He's like, I'm going to be real mad. 'Cause he's going through 100% of everything. He's actually done 100% of the hunting and fishing missions. So he's
Oh
done
my
all those, which is
gosh.
hard. So
Yeah, and the other weird thing was I loaded into the game last night, and I was standing in the middle of some little town. Maybe it was Falls End or something,
Sure.
but I was standing there, and there was nobody around.
that's so weird.
Like no people, nobody in the bar, nobody in the shops.
Super strange.
Nothing. And like I'm walking around trying to find somebody, Bueller, like, and it was
Anybody?
nobody. There was nothing. So I had to. I think I fast traveled somewhere. Yeah, I fast traveled somewhere.
Sure.
And they
they appeared.
repopulated. And I was like, oh, there we go.
So weird.
It was really strange. But anyway, so I've been playing that, and I've been playing a little of the Fortnite a little bit on my phone. Not much.
Nice. Are you liking it?
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's a fun little distraction. I have to make sure that I start it up, though, before I leave the house, because it's like, you're about to use 1.3 gigs of your data. I'm like, okay, well. Anyway, so yeah, that's what I'm playing.
It's good stuff. Yeah, I got to beat Far Cry before
God of War.
come out.
I know. I've got
We've
a
got,
little
like-
over a week.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, and I got until Friday, so I guess I don't think I'm going to buy it. I'm going to rent it. So I've got until it shows up from GameFly.
Or you can just borrow it from me.
Yeah.
No, you can't.
No, I can't. Dylan.
What are you playing?
Well, I think I finished Mr. Shifty.
Nice.
That was cool. It gets pretty challenging at the end. Like, I had to play the last, like, few segments a lot. Like, reminds you of old games. Like, just grinding through until you finally, like, oh, I nailed it, and then, oh, I died. Like, and then, so that happened a lot.
That's, like, the biggest reason I will not be playing Mr. Shifty, apparently.
Yeah.
Because I died.
Yeah.
It can be a little bit challenging. Because the way the game is, like, they have to throw a lot of enemies at you to make it challenging.
Sure.
But if you know what they do and their kind of their patterns and how they like throw explosives at you or how they shoot you and how they move around the map, like that's what the game's about, is kind of learning how to combat multiple enemies in different areas and being able to shift through walls and take them down. It's satisfying, good end of the game, whatever.
Beating any game's great,
right? And that felt good. So, other than that, I've kind of been taking it easy. I played a little bit more Fortnite. I finished my battle pass.
Nice.
So I got the John Wick skin.
Very nice.
So that's kind of cool, I guess.
We had a busy weekend too.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah,
right.
a little bit.
So
Don't say that.
like, kind of like just breathing a little bit, and but apparently like the Fortnite, I don't know, we haven't mentioned this, the comet's hitting soon.
Oh, nice.
So I think, if you remember talking about that.
I want to say that I saw something earlier today about how there's more meteors now showing up, and there's more things flying around, and people are starting to get a little freaked out.
I'll be interested to see how that turns out.
But they've added some new like cool skins and dances and stuff, so they're always adding new stuff. There's like a fish head in an astronaut suit, like a floating fish. It's pretty cool.
It's gonna be weird. The asteroid's gonna hit. It's just gonna kill everyone off, and the game just goes offline.
Right.
There's nothing else.
I would actually kind of be happy. Like that'd be kind of cool. Like it's ballsy.
We're like,
What if
we're
it was
done.
like, and there was.
That's it. That's
You're
it.
done.
You're done. No more Fortnite.
That'd be
And
crazy.
then everybody can go play Radical Heights.
There you go. I really want to play Radical Heights.
I
I've
know.
gotta.
I downloaded it.
Yeah, I need to do that.
I haven't loaded it up yet. I haven't seen the Portafort. Actually, I did see someone use a Portafort.
Nice.
So that was
I
kinda
hear
cool.
the rocket missiles, the guided rocket
rockets.
got pulled out.
Did it get pulled out? I hadn't used one. I saw someone using one, and they didn't kill me, and I think I killed them. So
Oh wow.
that was
Can
my
you?
only.
Are you able to blow those out of the sky though? Can you shoot them?
I'm not sure.
I'd imagine there has to be something.
That really
to-
wasn't my thought. My thought was just like, I'm gonna go run over here and then kill you.
Nice.
Because they're obviously not looking at people; they're just looking at where their rocket's going and trying to make sure they hit that one person instead of the 50 other people around them. Maybe.
Yeah. It was cool that I played with my buddy on his Xbox.
Oh,
so
nice.
They silently added Xbox crossplay.
Yeah, like
for
2 weeks
anyone that
ago, I
didn't
wanna say.
know, like
Yeah.
they don't announce this ever for anything. It's just like you can do it. And it actually works better than the PS4 crossplay, unless that happened, because once you're friends, you can actually like invite people to games and join them instead of like, I'm just gonna join your game.
Interesting.
So I think it actually functions a little bit better than the PS4 did, but they might have changed that since too.
Super fun.
But
I mean, they got so many people working on that game right now. I think everything's just getting better.
I'm
all the
working
time.
on that game.
Right.
so any Xbox players out there want to get some duos in or squads and stuff, we have more versatility in our player base. So
That's cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anything else?
no.
Okay then. Yeah, we did have a busy weekend. We were at this thing called the Northwest Kids Fair, which is why we're kind of sick right now.
Yeah,
It was fun though. We
yeah.
met a ton of kids.
Oh, yeah.
A ton of cool parents. So if anyone's listening, hey,
Yeah.
welcome.
Yeah, welcome to the show.
And it exceeded our expectations, I think, too. Like
Mhm.
going in for our first time doing something like that, I think it paid off for sure. So
Hell yeah.
I think like my most interesting takeaway from it is because we do what we do and we're so kind of like, I don't know, quote unquote, dialed into like video games and video game culture and whatever.
I'm so glad you think we
We
are.
talk about it a lot anyway. I had just kind of assumed by now, it's been out like 14 months, that everyone had played a Switch. That they were kind
Right?
of pervasive, that, you know, like maybe you don't own one, but you know someone who did.
Yeah.
And I was shocked at how many people were like, and what's this thing called? Didn't even
Yeah.
know what it was.
Yeah.
Their kids were kind of like,
what's this?
you know, you'd hand them a Joycon and they'd hold it the wrong direction. They'd hold it like a phone instead of like a controller. And like we really had to show a lot of kids in that like 10, 11, 12 set that just didn't know how to do it. I was really surprised, you know, and tons of them. Like, I think the funny thing is the Wii U only sold like 13 million units, and the Switches sold equal to that. Tons of people were like, "Oh yeah, my kid's got a Wii U," and so they've played Mario Kart on that, which is what we were demoing. But very few of them were like, "Oh yeah, I have a Switch at home."
Yeah, right.
I was very surprised. I think if we'd had Switches there, we actually probably could have sold 4 or 5 of them. Though
Yeah,
it was
right.
real weird.
Everyone wanted to buy Adam's SNES Classic.
Yeah, they
Could've
did,
sold
and
that
they
thing
did
out from
not.
under him real easy.
No,
Should've.
sir.
I'm
No.
a nice guy.
Thank you. Thank you for that. If you're listening to us on iTunes, make sure you like us and review us and stuff. We've got a whole bunch of stickers and swag and stuff, and we'll send it to you.
Swag.
Yeah, we'll read it.
Swag.
We'll read your little review if you choose to leave us one, and we'll send you some stuff. All right, we've got a lot of it to cover, so let's get right into it. This is a segment we like to call
News.
It's a pregnant pause.
Seriously.
I was giving you some build.
Thank you.
We needed a drum roll. Nah.
That was not a drum roll. That was like a really bad, like,
machine gun.
yeah, like a Nintendo machine gun.
Bat.
All right, big story of the week. There is a game coming on, what is it, Friday?
Yep.
Yep, it's on Friday. So if you're listening to this the day we release it, tomorrow, it's called God of War.
And it looks
It
great.
looks really, really good.
It's getting really well received too.
Currently
yeah.
on Metacritic, it has a 95, which is
kind of crazy high.
I'm not just kind of crazy high. And I mean, you know, a game is very confident when they release it to review. I mean, there's been review copies in the wild for a week and a half, 2 weeks. So like, not only did they, you know, get it done, you know, a couple weeks ago, but are confident enough to send out review copies that early, which does not happen a lot anymore. Like Bethesda doesn't send out review copies at all. You know, a lot of people are like, here's a review copy a day early, 2 days early. So to put out review copies 2 weeks early, you know that they are very, very confident in that game. So 95 is huge.
Yeah, 95 is huge. It's the majority of these scores too are upwards are 100.
Yeah,
like it's just
IGN
killing
gave it a
it.
10 out of 10. Destructoid gave it a 10 out of 10.
Polygon gave it a 10.
Yep, it's
Wow.
pretty huge. So I mean, I was excited to play that before because I've never played a God of War game, and I'm even more excited now.
Right, and the big switch in this game is going from the kind of like top-down-ish perspective, where you see the entire arena and you can see everything around you or whatever, to a more third-ish person
really? I
over the
didn't realize
shoulder.
that.
Yeah, most of the
It
games.
looks great.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, most of the games are. I don't want to say isometric, but they definitely have a pulled-back camera where you kind of got a bird's-eye-ish view.
Yeah, and I think what that did too, I mean, I think that was beneficial because it really showed the scope of the game. Because you're right, you're fighting on the backs of titans. Like, this is a game about gods and giant creatures fighting. So to have that like pulled back camera was meant to like just show the scope of the game and how massive like this combat is.
I've heard the combat
so-
feels incredible.
Yeah.
Like it is amazing. So
Yeah.
I'm super excited.
From what I've seen, like the combat is straight up, it's God of War. You know you're playing a God of War
Nice.
game. Like it's got that aspect to it, but it's got the more over the shoulder perspective, where it's almost like a Gears of War perspective from just behind and over the shoulder, and the game too is being like lauded for this one shot. It's one continuous shot from the start of the game to the end of the game. There are no breaks. There are no fades to black.
Wow.
It's all one continuous
so no
shot.
cutscenes either?
No cutscenes.
Wow.
Everything's all in engine, in game.
That's cool.
So
that's very cool.
I'm really looking forward to it. I
Same.
finally watched the first 15 minutes of gameplay. That's been up for months. I want to say
I'm gonna go
now.
in cold. I've never played a game. You know, I'd always thought like, I need to play. I want to play at least God of War 3 before I play this.
See,
And I just haven't. You know, I want to, and I just don't have the time for it.
I
So
wish you would have, because if you would have, I mean, you already know that Kratos is just like, he's angry.
yeah.
He's a very angry man.
Yeah.
I mean, he kind of killed his family and like
I
the
hear
ashes.
it was an accident though.
Well, I don't know. I mean, the ashes of his village people were burned and seared to his skin, which is why he's gray.
It happens.
I mean,
Tell me that hasn't happened to you at least twice.
well, I mean, not since like Tuesday. That was yesterday.
Our house got
It's
covered
Wednesday.
in ash from Mount St. Helens when it erupted.
Close enough. You weren't born.
Oh,
I
in the
wasn't born.
80s, yeah.
No, I guess I was born.
Yeah, you were
weren't
born.
I wasn't born.
No. I've got a little wolf sculpture made of St. Helens ash.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why that's important.
That's
We got
weird.
a jar of it.
But anyway, yeah. So, the reason I say I wish you'd have played some of the other God of War games, I know Kratos is always an angry man, but the transition from him being this angry, I killed my family, death to everybody, to having to be a father.
Yeah. I'm sure the
And-
transition is going to be interesting.
Yeah,
but-
because watching that first 15 minutes, just seeing the way that they have Kratos being portrayed and the way he's acting and the way he's being a father, you can clearly see he's trying not to get so pissed off he knocks this kid into the next
yeah.
It'd be a great movie.
place. What?
Anger Management 2 with Adam Sandler and
Kratos. Yeah. No, I'm excited about it. It's it definitely looks good.
So yeah, if you've got the regular edition, like you don't do, but you're game flying it.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it on.
Everybody
Gamefly.
gets to play it on Friday. I got the Stonemason edition with all the extra crap, but
cool.
I don't get it until like the 28th.
Yeah.
So
The statues that
you
comes
get.
with are awesome.
I know
looking,
that's
though.
what I get.
Yeah.
Is the statue made of ash?
Heck
Yes.
yeah.
From Mount St. Helens.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Or dead villagers.
Whatever.
Anyway, so yeah, there's that. Your God of War update.
One other thing about the God of War actually that I did want to mention is
Yes.
that if you have a PS4 Pro, you get 2 game options on that. You can either play high resolution or high performance. High resolution will play at a checkerboarded 4K at 30 frames a second, and the high performance is an unlocked up to 60. And word on the street is do not play it in 4K.
Yeah, everybody's saying play the performance
Play
mode.
performance. It has a really hard time hitting 30 frames a second at 4K. So it's a better, a lot of times you have a 4K TV, you think like, I want to play this at 4K. Apparently for this game, it is not good.
See, I figure like something like that, if it with as much that's going to be going on, like 4K, I mean, it's a lot of moving stuff, so you're not really going to notice all of that.
Yep.
So just stick with that 60 FPS and all that fun stuff.
Way to do it.
All right, King of Kong, the high scores have been wiped.
Yeah, so this is a really tricky story, and I'm not super dialed into the like retro gaming record breaking kind of scene. So I'm gonna try and explain this as best as I can. And if I make mistakes, I'm sorry.
We do our best.
We do our best. So quite a few years ago, there was a movie that came out called King of Kong, and it was about this kind of nice guy who was trying to beat the. I think he was just trying to beat the record. I think he was trying to be the first person to break 1 million points in Donkey Kong. Or beat the record to have the highest score in Donkey Kong. And the kind of villain in that movie was Billy Mitchell, who is, like, if you actually look at him, he just looks like a villain. He looks kind of like, I don't know, Loki from the Avengers movies.
Right.
If Loki wasn't, like, a really good-looking dude. He's was the first person to break 1 million. And was just kind of the evil antagonist in the King of Kong movie. And actually holds a lot of very high scores even today, because that movie came out quite a while ago, in Donkey Kong and in Pac-Man. I'm going to say a week or two ago, about a week ago, all of his high scores were wiped from both the Guinness Book of World Records and also the Twin Galaxies record book, which are kind of the gatekeeper for records. And it was because they found that he was using an emulator to play these games and not telling anyone. Apparently in that scene, like, it's okay actually to use an emulator to play these games as long as you disclose that. And they figured it out by looking like frame by frame as how the frames draw onto the screen, and an emulator actually draws them differently than an arcade machine will. Mm-hmm. So he's come back and said, like, no way, it's totally legit. But for the time, it's a pretty big deal in that kind of retro gaming record keeping scene. And I mean, when you think about a world record attempt at Donkey Kong these days, like, that's a huge amount of time. Like, that's not 15 minutes playing Donkey Kong. It's hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of time to do that. So this is a really huge shakeup in that world. So obviously, I think that's not the end of this story. I think more stuff will come out, but it's a very interesting take in games that are not by any means huge anymore, but still have this this pullback to see who can continue to break these records. So
Yeah, and we're actually going to be at the Renton RetroCon coming up on April 27th. So it'll be curious, since it's going to be mostly a retro crowd. I wonder if there's going to be some very strong opinions going around about
definitely
that.
could be. I need to talk to. I haven't had a chance to. I need to talk to Mansocks, who is in our Discord. Has been on here a couple times. Often has interesting questions about food. He's a big retro guy. He's got a huge arcade in his basement. And like is way more dialed into that scene than I am. I need to talk to him about it and see.
He can be our
correspondent on the streets,
right?
Yeah,
or Billy on the street.
Yeah,
nice. Well, that sucks.
Yeah.
Sorry, dude. Don't cheat. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Nobody knows if he cheated or not. All right, up next. Is your Nintendo Switch Joy-Con having performance issues? Has it been docking with switches you don't know?
For more than 4 hours?
So the Nintendo Switch has evidently, I didn't realize this, probably because I don't use a lot of motion controls, but I guess the Joy-Cons have been experiencing some motion control issues.
You know, and I think it's just certain ones at certain times in certain games. Actually, I think it's actually very game dependent.
On the fourth Tuesday of the third month in the year of our Lord Mario.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Well, this is patch I think 5.02. Yeah, 5.02, and both 5.01 and 5.00 actually were set out to address this same issue. So either the patch isn't quite, and Nintendo's very, very what do I want to say? They are not
very vague on what
what their
because they don't want to be
is.
like, hey, we know we screwed the thing up.
Yeah, so you don't really know if like 5.00 was like, hey, we tried to fix it, and 5.01 was, you know, a reaction to that fix, and 5.02 is another reaction to that fix, or if it's, hey, we got some of it, but there's still other games that aren't doing it. But it, you know, I don't think people think about updating their Joy-Cons as just a kind of a, you know, like your system just auto updates, and I don't think a lot of people think about updating their Joy-Cons. Or, you know, I often have them in a holder, or I use a Pro controller. It's something you have to do every once in a while. So
when you update the firmware on your Switch, does it automatically update the firmware on your Joy-Cons if they're connected?
I think so, but I'm not 100% sure.
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, I know like on the Xbox, it's
so.
actually a separate, because the Xbox controllers update every once in a while too, and that's actually a separate thing. You actually have to plug them in with a cord.
Plug them in, yeah. I've had to do that a few times, especially when you like introduce a new headset or something.
Yeah.
I did not know this.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know, but especially if you have two. Like, I mean, Dylan has 4 of them. And if you haven't plugged those other 2 in, they're definitely something you have to go back in and kind of manually update. So if you're having weird motion control problems, like I'm not a motion control guy, honestly. But if you are, it's definitely something you want to address.
Yeah, I should, if I played 1-2 Switch.
Exactly.
Maybe I would know.
Snipper
but I
clippers or snipper clips. Yeah.
All right. So Hellblade's newest sacrifice.
Oh, now we're getting
into it. It took home 5 BAFTAs, which are basically like the British equivalent. What, the British Academy Game Awards?
Well, the BAFTAs are actually like,
Here we go.
there's.
I'm a liar.
Go ahead.
Find it.
The
Go.
British Academy Games Awards. No. No, that's not right. It's
that would be the BAFTAs.
The BAFTAs. Yeah, so the BAFTAs are actually like they're actually like a bigger thing where the BAFTAs, you can win a BAFTA in film, you can win a BAFTA in all these different categories, and they have a specific night of awards for games.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and
British Academy of Film and Television Arts.
There you go. So you can win one for TV. I think it's actually like a combination in the UK of like the Golden Globes and the Emmys and the Oscars.
Yeah, it's like
all squished
it's like
and
if Spike TV,
the Game Awards. Yeah,
if Spike TV and ABC and CBS and the Tony Awards all got together
and had
and said, we're going to give everything out so we don't have to do the same award show 18 more times this year.
Yeah.
Just going to do it
Although
once.
the BAFTA Game Awards is separate than the BAFTAs. So
Guys, come
sorry,
on.
man.
It'd be too long. You don't want to. No one wants to sit through
there
all
for
that.
Yeah, but and the funny thing is like it's crazy that we're in April and they're still giving out awards for 2017.
Right.
But yeah, Hellblade. I mean, Hellblade swept the Game Awards. It swept a lot of. I don't think it actually got a lot of like Game of the Year awards, but it's really done well at award shows. So here's another 5. It won for. Oh geez, there's got to be
it got artistic achievement. Best performer, which the voice of Senua was amazing, and she was an editor.
Yeah, like a video editor.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Best British game and
two other things,
a couple of others, and audio achievement, of course, because the sound design in that game is ridiculous. It's so good.
Yeah, and another cool winner of that was actually the best game went to What Remains of Edith Finch, which Adam and I both played and adored. We interviewed Ian Dallas, who is the creative director on that. So go back about 30 episodes and you can listen to that. Cool guy, and that was a cool game. A Night in the Woods, which I'm in the middle of and really enjoying, also won an award for something. But I don't know what. But I follow their creators on Twitter, and they're very excited about it.
So Hellblade won an award for Game Beyond Entertainment.
Oh, that's cool.
Game.
What does that mean?
I assume that it has some, because it deals with mental illness and that kind of stuff. I have to assume that that it
has some sort of message outside.
Yeah, outside of just games.
That's a cool category.
That game is I keep getting new games, but I got to play Hellblade real soon. I bought it about 3 or 4 months ago, and I need to play it.
So good.
You never finished it, right?
We don't talk about that.
We do. We just did.
I don't. So I want to finish it. And I know I've talked about it before. The only reason I haven't finished it is because I got bugged. I got bugged. I fell through a floor, and when I got back into it, I got stuck in this boss quote unquote battle. And none of my hits were landing, and I played it for like 20 minutes in this one thing, and I'm like, I just can't bring myself to go back because if it bugs out again, I'll be really, really ticked off, and I love this game too much to go back and ruin it.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that was an issue that a lot of other people had, where you were falling through the floors and different maps and getting stuck in these weird areas. They did patch it out. I'm just
haven't gotten back to it.
Yeah, I moved on.
No, I get it. There's so many games, man.
I want to finish it though.
Yeah.
One game I will not play is Battlefront 2. Ever. I don't care how many cutesy little things they add, like this new what is this? This new kind of battle thing?
It's a new temporary. It's actually a really cool idea. So everyone is familiar with the Battle of Endor, right?
Yes.
There's an invading force of stormtroopers trying to take over Endor from the cute furry Ewoks, and somehow those crazy little dudes with sticks and rocks and spears managed to beat back the Empire. And
as one does.
So this is it's very much like the Overwatch kind of temporary game modes. The way it works is you start out with even numbers. So I don't know what those are, but let's just, for the sake of whatever, say that it's 20v20.
Okay.
And when an Ewok, so if you're an Ewok and you die, you just get regened as an Ewok, right? But if you're a Stormtrooper, you get regened as an Ewok when you die. So it starts out, say, 20v20, and then eventually gets to the point where it's 30v10 and 35v5 and 39v1. And the goal of the Ewoks is just to kill all the stormtroopers. The goal of the stormtroopers is to hold out long enough to get evac'd from Endor.
Interesting.
Isn't that a cool mode?
Okay.
Yeah. And
that's kind of fun.
And obviously as a stormtrooper you've got laser blasters and that, and as Ewoks you have rocks and sticks and stuff. So I bought this game for the single player essentially, and I played the single player and it was real good. Or it was good. I don't know about, I'll say real good. Like a 7.5. Never really got into the multiplayer, but I think I'm going to have to try this game mode out. It sounds real fun.
So are they saying that Ewoks are nothing but reincarnated stormtroopers?
It is exactly that.
Is that canon? Does that fit?
Sure. I don't think so.
I don't think so. That's a weird little mode. Well, that'll be fun. I think that I can play. Isn't Battlefront 2 coming to EA?
Nah, I can't imagine. Probably 6 months from now. I don't think it's coming anytime soon.
Well, that's silly.
Yeah, sorry, man.
Yeah, it's fine. All right, Sea of Thieves. It's getting an update. Hopefully, it might be an actual game when they're done.
Yeah, it sounds like it's actually getting a new. I mean, there's a bunch of new things coming.
And I'm I talk crap about this, but I'm the guy who also bought No Man's Sky day one. I pre-ordered No Man's Sky. So I don't really...
I heard No Man's Sky is real good if you play it now.
It is good now, a year and a half after the fact.
Yeah.
But...
So that's, and I like to hate on Sea of Thieves just because it's funny. I hate on Sea of Thieves for laughs, but it's not a bad game.
It's more of a joke than it is.
It's a great game. Every time I've played it, I've really enjoyed it. It's fun. Just right now I want to play Far Cry 5 more than I want to play Sea of Thieves. So
it has things to do.
But they're adding a new AI thing, so it's probably going to be something Kraken-esque. They're saying it's another big thing that multiple pirates may have to be involved with in the taking down of. So this is coming in May. First of all, it's called the Hungering Deep Update, which I like as a name quite a bit.
my belly just rumbled a little bit. Ready for dinner.
But they're also going to start having weekly events, which I think will be really nice, kind of that Destiny-esque do this, which is something that game to me really needs. That go run these quests, go run these things. That you need that weekly reason. I'm honestly surprised it didn't launch with weeklies or dailies.
Yeah.
That's kind of, at this point in the game, a pretty, I don't want to say tropey thing, but it's kind of a tropey thing. So they're also going to say that there's going to be new updates, including what they call cursed cannonballs and skeleton thrones, which cursed cannonballs, there's no details, but skeleton thrones are actually going to be something you have to find. So it's not going to be necessarily on your map. You'll find it with your spyglass, and then they're hard to reach, and you'll go do it. I've also heard there's a new ship coming, so...
Do you think it'll be a smaller ship, bigger ship, same size?
I don't know.
Ship?
I think it might just be a different ship. I want a 3-player ship. That's what I want.
I want something that's slightly in between the sloop and the galleon.
Or I want to be able to play a 3-player ship on a sloop. One of the hardest parts about this game is I'm not a multiplayer guy. I don't like to play with strangers. It's just not my thing, and so it's hard to get 4 people together. But I can often get 3. Yeah. And I don't want my 4th player to be someone, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to talk with strangers. I don't want to type to strangers. I don't want to do dumb dancing emote with strangers. I just want 3 people. It's just...
That's fair.
I don't know. I mean, I'm that way in real life too. I don't like strangers in real life either.
Barely. Well, good news is if you don't like multiplayer and you happen to own a Nintendo Switch, there is a bunch of Sega Genesis and Master System games coming to the Switch, which are all, I'm sure there's going to be some online component, like maybe leaderboards or something.
Probably.
Maybe. Whatever. Maybe. But they're all single player or co-op-y, like in-person experiences.
Like, and people Adam and my age.
Yeah.
Like, is it just baffling to you? You're like, oh yeah, Sega games are coming to the Nintendo. It's just
that just blows my mind. Well, it's not necessarily that Sega games are coming to the Nintendo Switch that blows my mind, because this just makes sense based on how we've seen Sega properties over the last 2 decades since they basically said, "Meh, we're done.
We give up."
Right? Like, there's been a Sonic on every system since the GameCube.
Yeah. It's just crazy to me that like it's just strange to hear the Sega collection on a Nintendo. But
I wonder if you'll be able to play Altered Beast on the Nintendo Switch. Because that would just be weird, because Altered Beast was like the pack-in game that came with the Sega Genesis, or at least
was it really?
Originally.
Interesting.
Back in one of the pack-in games eventually.
I loved Altered Beast.
And it's funny because I was listening to them on GameScoop, and I think it was Jonathan Dornbush. Is that who we were talking about?
We decided that was his name today.
Yeah. I think it was him. I could be wrong, but he was like, I remember when everybody was talking about Altered Beast was such a great game. Have you actually played that game as an adult?
I have.
It's terrible.
It's so fun.
It's so bad.
There are versions of it, no, it's not great, but if you get a good MAME version of it, it's real fun.
Oh, man.
In kind of a dorky way. I guess we should note that this is actually right now only announced in Japan, but I can't imagine there's any reason that it won't come out in the United States. It's going to be 15 games. They haven't really announced which ones, except that it will be Sonic the Hedgehog, Phantasy Star, and Thunder Force 2. I'm completely unfamiliar with Thunder Force 2, but I loved Sonic the Hedgehog and Phantasy Star. Phantasy Star is one of those games I would love to actually play. Like, I've played it a little bit, but it'd be a fun game to beat on.
I just want bouncers.
Bouncers?
Remember that basketball game
with the
where you're basketballs and you just bounce on top of each other and try to get in the hoop?
Nope. He's talked about this game before.
He's talked about it before, but no.
That's really the only game I want.
Was it a Sega CD game?
I think it was Sega CD though.
Okay.
Wait, did you actually have a Sega CD?
My neighbors did.
Really?
Yeah.
One of 4 people that owned a Sega CD.
Well, it was one of the... Which one had... Because there was one that had the cartridge and the CD.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Sega CD plugged into the top of a...
Is that what it was? I mean, I don't know. Based on... I was really young at the time, but I know, like, you had cartridges and you had a CD option, so both of those things were there.
I think the worst part about that statement is when I worked retail as a, almost functioning adult, the Sega CD was on its way out. But I remember we had one in our store, and I think I worked at Software Etc. for like 3.5 years, and I'm pretty sure we had that one Sega CD the entire time I was there.
Wow, nobody.
And it was just like, it would sit there and it would just get dustier and dustier, and like people would come in and like, oh, hey, a Sega CD, that's funny. And so the box would just get rattier and rattier until one day I think it just got either either they put them on just an incredible sale and someone bought it, or they just like eventually gave up and like, hey, just send this back.
Right.
Anyway,
that's fun. And also just a little interesting bit. They announced the Sega Genesis Mini, the Sega Mini.
Oh yeah.
I'm curious. So far, it's only been unveiled in Japan. They don't have any more details other than the fact that they're in existence and they're coming.
I think that'd be real cool. I don't know. I mean,
I was a Nintendo fanboy. Like, if you threw a Sega at me, I'd be like, I don't know what to do with this.
See, and
What
we
is
had
it?
both. I had an NES, and then my brother got a Sega Genesis for his birthday, probably a year after we got our our NES, and so I played both. The funny thing is, at the time, it was like, oh, you got to get the Genesis because it has all the sports games on it. And I'm like, now I'm like, why?
Don't really care.
I remember playing Dick Vitale's Awesome Baby College Hoops.
I played a lot of Madden and
I played Blades of Steel on the Nintendo.
Blades of Steel.
It was a hockey game. It was fun.
Yeah. Oh, I played a lot. Actually, no, I played Blades of Steel.
Yeah. I beat my dad's friend's kid at it, and he was so ticked off that I just kept whipping him every single round. He ended up tossing the controller at the screen and it shattered.
Oh, geez.
The controller, not the TV.
Yeah, TVs were unbreakable in that day.
Yeah, TVs back in 1985 were basically like,
giant
blocks of concrete.
That's true. That's fair.
Yeah, those screens were nothing to F with.
Yeah, no.
I like it.
No. All right, let's wrap up our news this week with, I got so excited when I saw this article earlier. I saw an article earlier today. I'm like, what? There's a new Castlevania game called Grimoire of Shadow. It has been announced.
Great name.
It's so cool. And I love Castlevania.
Yeah, same. Although I've not played a Castlevania game in
I've got the
30 years,
aria
25 years
on the 3DS, and it's all right.
I love those games like when I was a kid, like 10-year-old, 12-year-old Cliff.
And thankfully, we'll all be able to play this because it's coming to iOS.
Woo. Oh, but the good side is we'll be able to play it together because it has up to 4-player online mode on our cell phones.
Weird.
Interesting.
Yeah, so like we can all hang out together in the lunchroom and sit around and play. I don't know why we do that. We have offices. Why would we,
but I don't understand why. Why would they shuttle this to iOS? Why would they shuttle this to mobile? Yeah, I know that
so many people buy it.
Yeah,
man.
I mean, I think
so
that
big. Like,
I almost wonder if the iOS market for a game like this is bigger than putting it on the Switch. Or,
yes.
I mean, it's a game that would probably sell okay on like the Xbox or the Switch or the whatever. But I mean, on the flip side too, nowadays I have no idea how this is being made, but with kind of a lot of the engines like Unity and Unreal and stuff being very cross-platform, you put it out on the Switch or on iOS, which has an incredibly low barrier to entry. It sells well, then you just port it over to the Switch, and it takes 3 or 4 months, and now you've got a Switch game. So,
well, I hope.
I mean,
to
it looks
see
gorgeous.
It looks really,
absolutely
really nice.
gorgeous. So,
I just kind of hope it comes to Switch because these are the types of games that I want to see on the Switch. I mean, they're already there.
I just don't want to play a game with buttons on a screen. Like I like tactile
I don't know.
feedback.
Fortnite actually works pretty good for touchscreen. Not gonna lie.
I just don't like. I don't like the feel of it. I like having a button that clicks. You know. So.
Well, just when you thought Konami couldn't tick people off a little more. All right, is that it for news?
So
yeah, no idea when that's coming out. By the way, I don't.
Can you hook your Switch controllers up to your iPhone? Because
I haven't tried.
Bluetooth. I want Bluetooth. Bluetooth.
You talk good,
right? I wonder if it works.
Well, I don't. Well, there's our project for the weekend.
Whee!
Yeah, if I don't go to Vegas, my friend wants me to go to Vegas this weekend.
Vegas is fun.
I've got the miles.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Did you know that we are an official Humble Bundle partner?
I did.
That's right. You can go to bitemepodcast.com/humble and see all the latest and greatest. Have we updated that, by the way?
No, I suck.
Yeah, you should do that.
I've been
Because
real
I clicked
busy.
on a few. I was trying to show Kevin. I was like,
these
look
don't
at this.
work.
Like,
Yeah, no.
oh, that bundle. Oh, but I actually ended up buying, not via our website. Oh, dang, I forgot.
It doesn't matter. I mean,
the Vegas creator bundle thing.
oh, I saw that. It was Vegas is a really good software editing platform.
Yeah, Vegas is a great audio, and I think it's a video editor and all. Like you can do all of that in there, and that software alone is This is, I think it's 15. It was 14 or 15, and that software is still new. It's $250, $299.
Before I learned Premiere, I used Vegas for everything.
I used it for a little bit of sound design in high school.
It's 20. It was $20.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you have it? Do you need it? Do you want it? It's
No,
$20.
I don't.
$20.
He's
Anyway,
got other things.
I got Final Cut and
Aren't you
Logic
fancy?
He's super
and
fancy.
any Adobe thing.
He's got it. He's got it.
Well, if you don't have it, I don't know if it's still available, but you
is, I
can go to bitemepodcast.com/humble, and if you make a purchase via that little portal there, we will get a cut. You can support charity and your favorite podcast.
If you've ever wanted to make video games too, or just interested in the kind of concept of video game development, it's not actually like how-tos. It's more like the theories and philosophy behind game development and stuff. There's a really cool book bundle right now
cool.
about game dev that looks pretty cool. Yeah.
I should tell Kevin about that because for whatever reason he downloaded the Unity teach yourself stuff things on his computer and he's been kind of tooling around with that.
I've started my Zug Island development.
Oh,
it's the game we talked about like 12 episodes ago.
Oh yeah. Oh really?
Yeah.
You actually? Oh my.
I started writing it.
Okay. Well, look for that
in like 5 or 6 years.
Yep.
After
that's
we're
my
dead.
timeline, 2023.
I just got that. Speaking of like theory on game development, I just got like a book of essays and stuff on like doing like tabletop games and stuff.
Cool. Oh, nice.
I'm gonna make a card game.
Hey, Dylan told me his idea for a card game. It's good. It's real good.
I have somebody we should talk to.
Ooh.
Yeah, so.
All right. So yeah, bitemepodcast.com/humble, and that's that. All right, we have questions this week from Jjames, from Captain Insano, from JoeColeslaw. But first,
Hey, yo, Vinny!
how many random voices can we do this week?
I like how Adam's going real hard into his like superhero voice.
That's right.
It's good.
Holy cannoli, Batman!
All right. Vinny's got a quiz for us this week. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
He wants to know if we know the answers to what games are the following characters from. Now.
The answer is yes.
Okay, so how do we do this?
I have the questions, or I have the answers.
You have the answers. Okay, so are we supposed to? Okay.
So, no, it's fine. They're apparently one per page, so we can all answer.
I think, how about we go through them, and if someone thinks they know the answers, say yes or no before we just like throw out and spoil it for the
works.
others.
Yeah.
So we see who.
I now know the answer to the first one, but I think everyone knows the answer to the first one.
Okay, so number 1, Cortana, Sergeant Johnson. Do we all know?
I think so.
Yeah.
Windows 10.
Cortana is so obnoxiously in my Xbox now.
Right.
So.
Oh yeah, and that too. That would be.
Who is Sergeant Johnson though? Like Cortana did it for me, but I don't know who Sergeant Johnson is.
The main guy.
This is Halo, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Master Chief is Sergeant Johnson.
I think so.
Oh, I thought he was Chief.
Or is he the? Oh, he's.
Is he like the kind of admirally kind of guy?
Yes, I think so.
Well, that wouldn't make sense. He's a sergeant.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe we don't know who it is, but Cortana, dang it, it's Halo.
I know, right?
And anyways, that is the answer.
All right, number 2, Delilah. Do you know where this is from?
I do.
Yes.
I have no idea.
It's from,
You do.
You do, because you've played this game.
1, 2, 3. Firewatch.
Oh.
Delilah is the person you talk to.
Yeah.
It's okay.
No spoilers. Won't go into that.
Number 3.
Number 3, Frank West / Chuck Green.
Yes.
I
think so. 1, 2, 3.
Dead Rising.
That was what I was going to say.
That's what I was going to say.
Scared in the
1
last
and
minute
2.
too.
I was going to say
scared.
Dead Rising. I'm a liar.
Chuck Green's the
guy
protagonist
in 3,
in
and
the
then 4 it's back to
second
Chuck Green,
one?
right?
I
Or
don't
it's back
remember.
to Frank West.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
All right.
That is correct.
I'm not doing well. 4, Nico Bellic.
I think I know, but I don't know specifically which one.
No idea.
Yes and yes.
Okay, so it's Grand
GTA
Theft Auto
4.
4. Okay, which is
He is the main character.
yeah,
in the
and
fourth.
it's actually the one that I didn't play much of. I only played
Yeah.
maybe the first hour of GTA 4. So
He is the.
Nope, never played it.
yep.
I know I need to play it though. I hear it's real,
Have you
real
not
good.
played any of them?
I've not played. I've played GTA 3, Vice City, and some San Andreas.
That's good enough.
That's it.
Yeah, 5's
But-
good. Like, although at this point in the game, like 5's good, and having just finished it, it's an old game. Like, I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't go back and play it. Like, if you already owned it, but I don't know if
Yeah.
I'd say like go out and spend
Those
25, 30
the
bucks.
stories are all so good though.
Yeah.
Like man.
Oh, Grand Theft
like,
Auto 5 story
The
is
stories
terrific.
are so
Okay.
good.
But the game's just kind of janky.
Yeah.
That's
like,
fair.
Grand Theft Auto 6 will come out eventually.
True. All right, number 5, BJ Blazkowicz.
I'm in the middle of this game right now. It's Wolfenstein.
Oh,
Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein.
I know the next one. Dr. Wily.
All right, who is it?
Who is it? It's Mega Man.
Mega Man.
Oh crap! I actually would
He's
have
the
gotten that
evil
wrong.
doctor.
I would have said Sonic. It doesn't
That's
there's like
what's
a
his name?
there's like a
What's
Oh,
the Sonic
Doctor
Doctor
something though,
yeah,
right?
It's Doctor
It's a isn't that Professor?
There's a lot of really smart people that are bad guys in these games.
I'm glad you didn't ask who the Sonic bad guy is.
That's Professor Robotnik.
Robotnik.
yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, Dr. Wily.
I
So
would have
now-
known if it was Professor Robotnik. I would have known.
No, number 7 is very tricky.
Okay, number 7 is the president.
Yeah, and so I know a game where you play as the president, but I don't know if it's the game.
I think you're right.
So is it? Dang it,
Saints Row.
Saints Row.
Is that what that
Yeah.
is?
And the answer is yeah, Saints Row
okay.
4. Yeah, the first of Saints Row, you actually become the president of the United States. So yeah,
The end of the first game?
the end of the first of the fourth game.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You were actually elected
And then
president
the
of the United
second,
States
there's
after
Saints Row 4
saving.
re-election, isn't that what it's called? Or
Yeah,
something like that?
Yeah, and so you become the president after saving the world from aliens.
Oh,
So,
that's...
yeah.
Duh.
Of course, right?
That's how it works
the game
in the
actually
real world.
starts with an alien invasion. It's
I never
actually
thought
really
we would
good.
have a president that was an alien, though.
Oh,
All right.
ba-doom-ching.
That was fun.
Yeah, he's going to do it again next week, he says.
Oh,
so
God.
I like it. I like it. Maybe up the difficulty. We'll see. I know those
Up
were
the difficulty, I'm sitting here going, I got two
I
of
aced
them.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Dylan
well,
did real good. He's real smart.
He's so smart. Go ahead.
I have to rub it in when I get the chance, man.
All right, thank you for that, Vinny. Up next, James. If your life was a walking sim, would you play it? If so, would you want to see the ending, i.e. your real life death?
My life is pretty much a walking sim. I don't run much.
I have one speed. It is slow.
Right?
Yeah, I'm very much the Dear Esther of walking sims.
I'm either going or sleeping.
So I think that this
Or bathroom.
question kind of begs the question: is our journey in this walking sim predetermined? So if we see our death, is that can we change it? Do choices we make in this game affect? Is this a game with multiple endings?
Right.
Oh. See, I came at this question from the perspective of I'm not in control of anything. Somebody else is controlling me.
Yeah. Well, that's
And-
actually true.
And, well, there's that.
But you're playing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do our like if I can see my ending, can I affect that ending?
I think so.
I would say
But
yes. I would say this. Well,
I think there's another layer to this. Is you're playing your own life, right? So think about taking yourself out of your self currently and looking through the magnifying glass up here. Are you more conscious of your decisions because you're playing your life? Like, do you weigh your choices differently because you're playing it rather than living it? Right. So you're
Oh.
thinking more like
because you're seeing
like
all
yeah,
the
you might
options
go
you
out to
can
the bar and get
choose.
wasty pants tonight, but if you're playing a
Did you
game,
say
are you gonna
wasty pants?
yeah, are you
That's
gonna do the
TM.
same thing? Because how's that gonna actually turn out? Like you're living in the moment, you're like party, right? But like if you're playing it, how does that change your choices?
Interesting. Well, to answer this question, I would want to see my real.
Regardless
death,
of whether or
my
not you
ending.
have agency to change it.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Interesting.
Yeah.
What if you get hit by a bus tomorrow, Adam?
Well, if I see my ending, I'm basically like, if
I guess you
I'm-
party. If you're
so-
getting hit by a
so
bus
here's
tomorrow,
the
you're
thing.
going to party
So
hard
here's the
tonight.
thing: if I'm playing the game and I am in control, and I see my death in my walking sim, which is my life, and I'm the one playing, if I see
Ay,
that
ay,
death and I'm dead, I would be dead too.
So it doesn't really matter.
It
if you
doesn't
see your ending
matter.
or
It's
not.
like,
so,
boom,
but what
I
if-
just died.
So what if you can look ahead? Like
What if you can
do you
one
want
up?
to read the last page in your book?
Yeah, sure, why not?
What is the game a condensed version of your life?
I don't
Like
know.
it jumps ahead, or are you playing it in real time? Because in that case, you would probably
Oh,
die
I mean,
playing
what
a
if,
video game.
What if I What if I?
This has gotten real
yeah.
weird.
It's real deep.
I guess.
My life is not. My life is not interesting enough to be made into a walking sim.
I've
Yeah,
explored some interesting places.
Yeah. I guess I think I'd want to know.
I've crawled through long grass with spotlights on me before. I won't tell you what I was hiding from or trying to escape.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Well, that'll be part
See,
of our
I can
post show.
describe the situation in a way that sounds probably way more interesting than it is.
This is why you
but
make movies.
I don't really know why, or I don't know who was looking at me, but we were definitely
Somebody in a helicopter.
escaping.
Mm-hmm. I don't. You're weird.
It was private property too, probably.
So, would you want to see how it ends?
I don't know. Like, why not?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I know it's coming. Do I want to be surprised?
I mean,
You could have a real nice send off for yourself, you know? Like,
right. Like, I think there's certain.
Come to my last party.
Like, I think that's a very interesting idea of knowing, like, the predetermined path that your life takes and how you can, I mean.
It's an interesting idea, though, that you couldn't, you know, that you're going to die either way. There's no choice you make will affect it. So it's interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for really jacking with my existential
Right.
this
Can I just say,
crisis
too,
now.
I love the name Jjames. It's
Yeah.
like how I want to say Lloyd. I really like it.
Or Aaron.
Even though,
Aaron. Yeah.
even though it probably just stands for, like, Jesse James or something.
Probably, yeah.
Probably.
All right, thank you for that.
Yeah, see?
Captain Insano, if you were to create a historical fiction game, what time period would you choose? I don't know if I could really, because they've already been made, like Assassin's Creed Origins. Love ancient Egypt.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
So that's already my jam right there.
I think I would choose like 1890s to 1910s Old West. I mean, obviously that sounds stupid because I'm just going to make Red Dead Redemption.
Of course I would.
Yeah, because of course I would.
'Cause duh.
But I really like, the funny thing is I'm not really into like Western movies. But I really like Western video games, and I think that's such an interesting time period, and I think there's a lot of cool things you can do with it. Even if it's not a straight Western, like you guys saw, maybe you didn't see crappy movies, but did you guys see Cowboys vs. Aliens?
Yes.
Like, that was an
No.
interesting movie.
It was
Like,
interesting,
Mixing
right.
sci-fi and Westerns is an interesting idea. So I'm not saying it's going to be a straight, Western game, because I mean, why would I make a game that's not Red Dead Redemption? But I think there's a lot of cool things you can do with that time period in that location. So that's me.
True.
I agree. When I was younger, like elementary school, like I was really into the Middle Ages. Like that was
Me too.
Very like
That
I was
was my-
super
ugh.
into like knights and castles and
Yep.
Yeah.
trebuchets and all kinds of that stuff. Like I loved like reading about the different weapons and like all the crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, and how every like kingdom geographical location kind of had its own aesthetic and stuff like that. Like that's really cool. But as I got like later on, like I'm also interested in like the new frontier, the Old West, leading up into like Prohibition era. Like I find that to be the most interesting time.
But that's actually a really good point, though. Like 1920s, 1930s America
Oh yeah.
could be really interesting. I don't think
Yeah.
I've ever played a game set in that kind of like either like roaring 20s or like post-Depression America. Like that could be kind of this war of mine kind of setting, or that's a very interesting time period in American, or like the 60s, like a game. I mean, I guess Wolfenstein is actually set in the 60s. So, but that's a pretty ripe point in history too that hasn't been mined much for video games. So,
yeah, it's just I think having like setting times back a little bit. Like today technology is so advanced, like it kind of sucks the fun out of some things, because like when you can acquire so much intelligence on like going and sabotaging some, I don't know, foreign operation, like so much is done through like satellites and you have all this information, but like there's something cool about like being in a time where, I mean, the weaponry was still kind of primitive and you didn't have cell phones and a lot more detective work had to go into it. And I think that's what really like kind of excites me, is like how stuff was done in that time. And in the Old West, like it was, I mean, paper signs with your drawings of outlaws, like it was different.
It's strange to think about when you really, really dig into video games, though, that like there are so many time periods that there just no one's made games in. You know, they tend to either be like current day, future. Like there's been a few set in like that 80s, 90s kind of feel, but then past that, it's way distant past, or just a completely different. It's fantasy, so it's not
world,
anywhere. But I mean, there's a lot of very outside of strategy games. There's not a lot of games set
historical games
in historical China or historical America or historical Europe. And there's some very interesting characters and very interesting time periods that just haven't been mined for games yet.
Like I mean, even you think about it, like there's very few World War I games until recently.
Until very recently. And there's no like Civil War games that aren't heavy strategy games.
Yeah, exactly.
There's very few Vietnam games.
Right. And even one of my favorite Vietnam games, Shell Shock Nam 67, which came out in the PS2 Xbox era, had a supernatural twist at the end.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really a true.
Well, we've talked about that. Making a realistic Vietnam game is incredibly difficult and probably not palatable to American audiences.
It's a terror story no matter which way you look at it. If you see the reality of war in any context, it's pretty terrifying.
That was actually one of the things I liked most about Battlefield 1 is they didn't glory it. There was no glory in that game. It was horrible and gross, and people were dying, for a reason, but you really experience the horrors of war in that.
Right. I think that's what war movies do really well, though, I think, is because that is a genre, and they tend to do well, like Apocalypse Now or Full Metal Jacket, We Were Soldiers, The Patriot, like any of those. I don't know.
Also,
there's
R.I.P. Arlie Ermy.
Yeah.
Poor dude.
Right. But, there's a heaviness and a reality to it, and I don't know.
We Were Soldiers is a great book.
Yeah.
I'll have to read it.
It's real good. We were soldiers once and young. It's good.
All right, thank you for that question, Captain Insano. And
I think
finally,
real heavy at the end
I know. I'm like, y'all are getting way too serious over there. I'm over here looking at puppies. Joe Coleslaw says there are some voiceover talents that take people by surprise and when they appearing when they hear them in a video game. What voiceover talent has taken you by surprise? What voice talent would you like to hear featured in a video game, and in what game? For example, Mark Hamill in Kingdom Hearts, or Samuel L. Jackson in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Another one of my favorites is Linda Hunt. She played the voice of Gaia in the God of War games.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. So, and if you don't know who Linda Hunt is, she was in all kinds of stuff. She was the voice of the tree, the singing tree in Pocahontas.
Oh, sure.
She won an Academy Award for
She's been in some stuff.
She's been in a lot. So anyway, yeah. So, and I'm a voiceover guy, and I work with voiceover artists all the time, so that's kind of fun.
I think first of all, we have to give a shout out to Tasia.
Yes, Tasia Valenza, the voice of...
I don't know.
Poison Ivy. God. I actually got to interview her about 25 billion episodes ago. Check it out.
Yeah, and he gets to talk to her every 3 days.
Once a week, at least. So the question is, what voiceover talent has taken you by surprise? I'm going to go with Linda Hunt just because she's got one of those voices, as soon as you hear it, you're like, what the crap? What is she doing here?
I'm trying to remember what video game I was playing, and Maurice LaMarche does a voice in it, and I cannot figure out what it was.
I don't know who that is.
He does a ton of voice work. He was, I believe, the Brain in Pinky and the Brain.
Oh.
I'm looking it up right now. But he does a lot of voice work for The Simpsons and Futurama.
Oh, okay.
And that kind of stuff. But he was in a video game, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's Maurice LaMarche. And I don't remember what it is. So him in a video game, I can't remember.
Gotcha. Let's see. There's a list that I've got here. Gary Oldman.
Oh, Gary. Geez, that guy's amazing.
Right.
What's he been in?
He went and talked about, let's see. Boop, boop, boop. Doesn't really say.
Makes for great radio.
Yep. But there was a Dennis Hopper.
Oh, yeah.
In Vice City.
I really like...
You stole mine.
Oh, sorry. Was that yours?
Well, mine is Vice City.
Was that
just the game in general, because it has a star-studded cast, unlike probably any other video game.
You're right. Sorry, my bad. Okay, I'll stop
really
talking
liked. Oh shoot, I can picture it. I'm drawing blanks on all the actors that I want to to talk about. But I oh man.
Oh, I forgot about that one. Liam Neeson.
Oh,
Fallout 3.
Yeah.
Forgot all about that.
God, he's such a great actor. Oh, it was Full Throttle. Maurice LaMarche played in the remastered version. He plays one of the characters, and I just remember the entire time I was playing it, going like, "Who is that?"
Right.
And I actually tweeted about how awesome it was, and he actually liked it or replied to me. And
that's cool.
I felt very famous. So he's
Nice.
actually done a ton of voice work for video games.
Sorry. So Dylan, what took you by surprise, other than the one I totally spoiled?
Well, one I think is kind of funny that's more surprising, and then I was going to talk about Vice City, was Laura Prepon in Halo 2.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So if you know,
Was she really in that?
yeah. So Donna from That 70s Show.
Yeah, and Piper's girlfriend on Orange is the New Black.
Yeah. So
Why am I
yeah,
blanking on her name on the show?
She's a soldier in Halo 2.
Interesting.
Oh, that's cool.
That's pretty funny. But other than that, like, just the cast of GTA Vice City is incredible.
Yeah.
Just to, I mean,
Because what was the other guy? What was
so
one of the
Ray
other big
Liotta
actors? Ray
is
Liotta.
the main character.
Yeah.
From there, you have Tom Sizemore, Dennis Hopper, Burt Reynolds, Luis Guzman, Jenna Jameson.
What?
Danny Trejo.
I love Danny Trejo.
Lee Majors.
What? These are no way. These are all people.
Her name is tricky to pronounce. I think it's Fariza Balk. She plays the crazy girlfriend
Veruza Balk.
in
Veruza Balk.
in Waterboy, and she's the
crazy.
girlfriend in American History X.
She
as
was
well.
also the one.
She's been
That's such
voted
a
like
good
the
movie.
most beautiful woman in the world before.
Veruza
like,
Balk?
Yeah, like that's real life.
Because she was also the girl who played she was the crazy one in the group of four in The Craft.
Oh, sure.
And she also played Dorothy in Return to Oz back in the early 80s with that really wacky Disney
crazy.
version.
Lawrence Taylor was also in Vice City.
LT.
Football LT.
I had no idea all these people.
Just to name a few.
Just a few. Yeah.
Wow.
GTA Vice City gets the shout out for just being
Love it.
just by like I don't know if any game touches that really.
I had no idea that it was a cast like that.
Right. Like every voice you hear in that game. Like the other games
And Vice
have
City was what, PS3?
PS2.
Was it PS2?
Yeah.
Have they remastered it and re-released it and all that
I
stuff?
mean it has like you can play it on basically all systems.
I feel like
but
I should play that.
I think we should also give a shout out to Steve Downs, who was the voice of Master Chief, who actually worked for our company until he retired
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fun.
in Chicago.
Gary
Cool.
Busey's also in
I love
Vice
Gary
City.
Busey.
Shut up.
Yeah.
It's good
Other
stuff.
than
Okay.
that, like I think Mark Hamill makes a lot of appearances in games too. Like he's the Joker.
Yeah, he's the Joker.
because he
He's-
was the Joker in the Batman animated series.
Yeah, he still does it.
Yep.
He's
So
yeah.
I
I
that's
think
pretty
he
cool.
actually just retired from being the Joker.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. They got someone new.
Any voice talent you'd like to hear featured in a video game
Boy,
or a type of game? Anybody in particular?
I think it would be very interesting. Like, I think it would have to be a very specific game. He's not an actor that I really enjoy a lot, but I think I would like to see Jim Carrey in some sort of video game just because he's such or even better, if Robin Williams wasn't dead. Robin Williams would be amazing in the right role. Both of them are both that kind of actor, though. Weird improv, super wacky, persona. It'd have to be the right character in the right game, but I think that could be very good.
Anybody for you, Dylan? Anybody in particular stands out you'd like to hear in a game?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Ice-T was in GTA San Andreas. Remember
Of
that?
course he was.
Along with Samuel Jackson.
So she does voice work for Kaiser Permanente. She's the voice.
Allison Janney?
Alice Janney, yeah. Like, I don't know why. I would
like how
love
he's like not the person in the West Wing, but the voice actor of
but I mean,
Kaiser Permanente.
I never
so
watched The
funny.
West Wing.
Oh, you're kidding!
No,
it's such a good
not
show.
my thing. But also, and she's also Anna Faris's mother in Mom.
That is true.
And she also just got nominated for or won the Academy Award for her role as Tanya Harding's mother in I, Tonya. So
That
she's
was
done
good.
a lot more than just Kaiser Permanente and just The West Wing,
The
whatever
West
that
Wing
show
is so
is.
good.
So every time
some of the best writing on TV.
Meh.
Every time I hear a Kaiser Permanente commercial, I think it's some evil organization, like in
Right?
James Bond or
It
something.
sounds like it totally sounds like someone that
I'm
would
just
try and take over
that's
the world.
not. Yeah.
I mean, let's be frank though; it is a giant healthcare, company,
Right.
so they may actually be super
I mean,
villains.
let's not talk too bad about them since they advertise with us, but okay. Just saying. I'm going to mark that for
Mark
everybody
that.
on the Twitch. We're cutting that out if it gets choppy.
that was special content for you.
And we're back.
Stupid advertisers.
Yeah, I know, right? All right, so yeah, that's that. Is that it?
Oh.
And just like that.
And just like that, the show's done.
Oh wow! How did that happen? Yeah, no,
I don't know what that was.
Yeah, because we're kind of mid-month. There's not a lot of cheap free stuff. There's no Xbox
Right.
Gold yet. There's no PlayStation Plus. So next week probably.
Next week we'll have all
Yeah.
the news that is news that could be news forever. Maybe, who knows? So
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, well, thank you for watching on Twitch, and thank you for listening on wherever you're listening. What are you laughing at?
Because of the 15-second delay on Twitch, I just saw Dylan do his little dance that he just did.
So yeah, find us on social media at Bite Me Cod.
The Bite Me Cod piece.
That's a whole different freaking show that we don't want to get into.
I think we need to make those merch.
Wow.
We need to move some merch.
The Bite Me Podcast. It's at Bite Me Podcast. BYTE Me Podcast.com /humble if you want to purchase anything via the Humble Bundle via our site and give us some money. That would be great.
We love money.
We have got stickers. We've got stuff. So yeah, send us emails, send us questions, find us on Discord, on Facebook, whatever. Let us know where you're at, why you're listening, what you like about us. You probably got more reasons of why you don't like us.
This might just be you complaining about this episode.
That's fine.
That's all right.
On the worst episode of the Bite Me Podcast.
It's all good.
Did your podcast go downhill at the end? Yes, it did.
It's all good.
And we have no way of fixing it. You're done. You lasted this long.
Mm-hmm.
Good job.
Are your Joycons acting funny?
Are your Joycons? I don't even know what to say.
Is your podcast bad?
Goodbye, people.
No, it's not bad.
Has your podcast been dragging on for more than 4 hours?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
If you don't end this soon, though, it might.
Do it, Dylan. Do it.
Bite me.
Thank you, all you wonderful people.
Thank you for watching.
Thanks for the hosts too. Appreciate that and the follows. You all are wonderful.